You're listening to the Bloodshed Baddies.
Hi, I'm Lex,
And I'm Sam.
and we are the Bloodshed Baddies.
Hello, baddies. Long time no talk.
Woo woo!
So clearly, Lex, we have to talk all about your weekend. You saw Taylor
Yes,
Swift?
I did. I saw Taylor Swift not once, but twice this past weekend.
Get out of here. All right, before we talk about you seeing Taylor Swift, not once, but twice. If you allow me to be embarrassing to you for a moment, I would love to tell about the first time we adventured of seeing Taylor Swift Eras tour because this is now you've seen it how many times?
This was my third and fourth time.
So she went to the Eras tour, this lucky girlie, 4 times. So if you don't mind telling my version, Sam's version of the Ticketmaster fiasco.
If you are a Taylor Swift fan, you will relate hardcore to this story.
Also, we're probably going to bro out about T Swift for like a few minutes. So if you're not a Swiftie fan, just skip ahead. Okay. So the very first time we decide to see Taylor Swift, so this is kind of like Lex's and I's thing. We love Taylor Swift. We bond about her. We talk about her new music. We freak about her outfits, her posts, all that kind of stuff. We've gone to together the Speak Now tour, but technically I was with Jamie, but I went with you.
Yes, yes,
We went to the Red tour.
yes,
We went to the Rep tour.
yes,
And then you were like, by golly, Samantha, I had a rough year. We were going to the Eras tour.
yes.
And I was like, I'm getting married. I can't afford it. And you were like, I don't care. I'm doing this for
I'll,
us.
I'll be your sugar daddy for the Taylor Swift show.
So I was like, okay. And it's Ticketmaster Day. And we have decided before we like knew it was going to be a crap show. Lexi would get on one end of a computer, I would get on the other, and we are both at work because of course it's during work hours.
And we
So we're
both got the verified fans separately.
yes, we did. And we are sitting there and Lexi's texting me and she's like, I have the best seats ever. I'm in a cart and I'm trying to get seats. I'm still waiting.
This is, though, how many hours into being in the
Oh,
queue?
how
Like
many? I don't even
6 hours.
remember.
Like
It
I
was all
had been
day.
sitting in a queue for 6 hours and then got floor seats in my cart.
And she's like, this is the best ever. I'm not even going to tell you how great they are. And then all of a sudden, as she's checking out, Ticketmaster crashes. So I'm like, Lex, don't worry. I still have an option. And I get probably the worst seats ever.
They had a partial obstructed view.
Lexi calls me later that night and goes off. She goes off on me to the point where I just am so silent. And I said, okay, Lex. And then she hung up on me, but did end up calling later to apologize.
You got another craziest part. Well, there's two crazy parts of this day. The first crazy part is I had an appointment with my psychiatrist that day.
Thank God you needed
And
it.
I walked in and I was bawling and I like could not even catch my breath. And I was like, I swear I'm doing fine outside of today. Like, I don't need a medication adjustment. This is just today.
Today was a rough day, I promise.
And then I was supposed to go on my first date with Dustin that night.
This is the first time she meets her long term boyfriend, the boyfriend she is still with, puffy eyed and all.
And I wanted to cancel, but he had a babysitter for his kids. So I felt bad. So I went. And obviously, thank goodness I did. But very full circle moment that 2 years to the day we were at a Taylor Swift concert together, me and him.
Beautiful, beautiful if you think about it. But it ended up working out. We did end up getting amazing seats. We were very, very lucky.
Yes, because then since Ticketmaster crashed on me, they were closer to the day of the show. They came back when they re-released the tickets, and we did get floor seats, so it
My
ended up
God.
being great
So then you saw her again where? Number
in
210.
Australia,
And this was all before the TPD set. So
all
you
before the TPD set
saw TPD set twice where at?
in Toronto,
All
Canada.
right. Tell me all about it.
It is amazing. The first night I cried like a lot of the concert because I thought it was my last time I was ever going to see this concert. So I literally cried 50% of the concert. And the first surprise songs were the I Don't Want to Live Together by Zayn and the Mine mashup, which
Yeah.
I do not like. I Don't Want to Live Forever. And I actually love Mine. But as you can remember, Samantha, at the Nashville show we went to, we got Mine as a surprise song.
And to help your embarrassment, I did tear up at that one at the Nashville concert.
Yeah. So when we got back, Dustin was like, "Oh, did you not like your surprise songs?" And I was like, "Not the first one. The second one was really, really good." But I was like, "Not the first one."
What was
He's
the
like, "Well,
second
why
one?
don't we go?" The second one was Peter
Oh,
and
Evermore.
Evermore mashup.
I knew it because you texted me already.
Oh, it was so good.
Beautiful.
But yeah, so Dustin was like, why don't we go try to get better surprise songs tomorrow? Happy anniversary. Your present is we get to go back tomorrow. But it was very cool the second night because we had tickets like at a standing room only bar.
Oh, that's fun.
And since I had just seen it the night before, like I spent most of the time just like dancing around because we had like a ton of space and just
Living
like
it up.
beat bopping and having fun. And it was a great time. And the second surprise song, You're on Your Own Kid, was part of the mashup, which is my
Amazing.
song.
And didn't you see Gracie Abrams was a surprise guest?
Yeah, Gracie Abrams came out and performed Us, which is their Grammy nominated song. And
And
they
I
mixed
like
it
that
together.
song.
Yeah, and they mixed it together with Out of the Woods. And Gracie's vocals in Out of the Woods, oh my gosh, that girl's talented.
I gotta look it up. I'm so jealous.
I looked up the You're on Your Own Kid and Long Story Short remix. And I'm pretty sure I blacked out during 90% of it because I was so excited.
You're like, I don't remember any of this. But how do you feel the era of the Eras tour being over for you?
It's kind of really sad, but it's also like been such just a fun part of the last like year and a half of my life. And like I mean, you know, Sam, I found Taylor Swift this very first song she ever released. And she's been with me through every breakup, through every messy part of my life. And like the Eras Tour creates such an amazing environment where it's just like a magical little 3.5 hours of time where you don't have to think about anything else. So I'm so glad I got to experience it 4 times.
And such a
And
positive atmosphere as well. Like
yes.
everyone, every Taylor Swift fan, at least that we've encountered at the shows, are just the nicest, greatest people.
Yes. Like the people you meet and the stories you get to tell because everybody's so friendly. Even like we were at the first night and Dustin was sitting next to a little girl. She's probably like 10 or 11 and her mom.
Oh.
And at one point, the little girl got so excited and she like hugged her mom so hard. And Dustin gave her mom's a thumbs up and her mom started crying and
Oh
came
my
over to Dustin
God.
and said that her son has been battling cancer and she's felt like she spent all of her time over the last couple months like dealing with his treatments and doing everything for him and this was like the one thing she was able to do for her daughter.
That is so, I could cry. I could literally shed a tear. That's just sweet. That's exactly what you're saying. Hate or love Taylor Swift all you want, but her concerts bring people together and make amazing memories.
Yes.
Oh, I hate to transition from amazing Taylor Swift to this terrible, terrible case, but are you ready for it?
I
Taylor
am
Swift
ready for
reference?
it.
All right. I feel like I have to start this off by saying that I found this just by researching older true crime cases. And I came across a list that had the Pepin sisters on it. So, of course, I'm like, this is excellent. We need to do this case on our podcast because, duh, we are sisters. And I got like super excited. But oh my God, I hate this case so much. It is arguably one of the most horrific crimes in the history of France. This story is absolutely gross, absolutely insane. And I literally needed to take breaks from reading about it to watch funny things or get my mind off of it.
Oh, wow. Okay. This is a real tough transition from Taylor Swift.
I also found a lot of articles with small differences between them. And I think that's either because of all the time that has passed from when this case happened. So I tried writing what I saw most often, or the differing facts could also be from because of the translation, because this does take place in France. So
Mm.
I know I'm going to pronounce things wrong, even though I took French in high school, I took French in college, and I looked up the pronunciations. So I'm really sorry in advance. Anyway, are you ready, Lex?
I am. I think so, maybe, but I guess we got to do it.
So the story really starts with Clemence and Gustave. It is
Ooh, I like the name
19
Gustav.
The name is nice. It is 1901 and they are both living in Le Mans, France, which side note, Le Mans is actually known for its 24-hour motor car race, which is apparently like super popular for that kind of stuff. The winner is based on how much distance the cars cross in 24 hours. I don't know about it, but I guess it's a really big deal.
Wait, does the same person have to drive the car for all 24 hours or do you like switch out?
I honestly tried looking it up, but this stuff goes over my head. I think it's the same person, but that could be so wrong. But that's what this place is known for. It's a
Okay,
very popular place in France.
great.
Okay, back to 1901. Clemence is rumored to be having an affair with her boss while dating Gustave. Despite people
Oh,
telling him differently, even his parents, Gustave marries a pregnant Clemence and they have their first child, Amelia, 5 months later on February 12th, 1902.
do we know if it's his? Do we find out if it's actually his?
The rumor mill was swirling and no one really knows who Amelia's father is because of the affair. So pretty scandalous. She also was clearly pregnant before her marriage, so probably a big reason for her and Gustave getting married because it is 1901. Apparently, even after locking it down, Gustave still suspects his wife of having an affair, and he decides he's going to try and squash it and take another job out of town. He tells her they are moving, but Clemence freaks out and is like, no, I'd rather kill myself. And their marriage goes down the drain, even though they stay together. And this causes Gustave to start drinking very heavily.
The drama girl.
Already coming at you quick. Even though they basically hate each other at this point, they have their second child, Christine Papin, or Papin is what I saw in the French documentary, but I'm probably just going to say Papin still, who
Mhm.
was born March 8th, 1905. Soon after Christine was born, she is given to an aunt because Clemence is just not suitable for motherhood and basically complaining about taking care of two kids and whatnot. So Gustave gives Christine to her sister, who apparently hates all men.
I do not like this woman.
Clemence is not a great
You're
lady.
having an affair with your boss. Then your husband's like, let's move away so you can stop having this affair. And she's like, no, I'd rather die. And then she's like, we'll have another baby. Just kidding. I don't like it.
Basically, yes. So they give Christine to Gustave's sister, which again apparently hates all men, which is odd. But allegedly, Christine lives there happily for 7 years.
Do you think maybe she was a lesbian?
I think maybe that or a man like hurt her pretty hard, but I guess it was very known that she like hated all men.
Got it.
Clemence and Gustave are still doing it. And in 1911, on September 15th, their third child, Leah Papin, is born. And she is immediately given to an uncle. And she's apparently stayed there till his death. So they have a third kid and immediately give her away as well.
Oh my God. Why do you even have the third kid?
Clemence is an awful mother, and Gustave is still drinking really heavily, and allegedly he's becoming abusive as well. And this is a trigger warning for sexual assault and rape. But in 1912, it is reported that Gustave molested or raped Amelia, the oldest daughter.
Oh no.
Her
These
terrible,
poor girls, they have horrible parents.
well, their terrible, terrible, terrible mother, Clemence, basically blames Amelia for this. And
An
yep. And sends her to a Catholic orphanage that is known for discipline and being harsh.
orphanage. So now,
Yep.
now she's got no kids.
She
She
sends
said,
her
"Oh, makes me so angry."
she sends her there well aware of the reputation. So she knows this Catholic orphanage is super disciplined, super harsh, and she sends her daughter there on purpose. Soon after Amelia is sent there, Christine is sent there as well. And Leah also eventually sent to an orphanage too. Some sources said the same one, and some sources said a different one. So I'm not really sure where. But basically, the mom is like, you are all going to this orphanage until you can work, and then you will go to work and send me money.
Oh, such a great mom. Mama of the year.
So terrible, terrible parents. And these girls are deprived of parental affection and love since the beginning.
Sounds like it.
In 1918, Amelia, the oldest daughter, she makes the decision on her own to enter the covenant or the convent. She makes the decision to enter
I
the
guess it's
convent.
both. She's also entering a covenant with Jesus, right? You ain't wrong.
And she ends her ties with her family and stays there the remainder of her life. Which,
What
like,
a baddie.
yeah, good for you, girl. You distanced yourself from these crazy, crazy, crazy people. You turned to religion in a positive way. It seems like good for you. Christine, the second daughter, apparently wants to follow in her oldest sister's footsteps, and she really wants to become a nun like Amelia. But Clemence, back to being a terrible mother, forbids it because she thinks that the convent took her daughter Amelia away from her and is like, you can't do that. You have to start working.
That's not why at all. It's because she ain't making no money as a nun to send home.
Exactly. And this begins Christine working for wealthy families as a maid and a cook. She was basically trained to do this in the orphanage, so she's really good at what she does and is a very hard worker. But apparently, she has a temper sometimes and can every once in a while be insubordinate.
Well, I'd have a temper too if my parents just fucking gave me away.
Leah also is obviously being pushed into this life by her mom, and she is known for being a really hard worker and obedient as well. But by all accounts that I read, she is known to be not as intelligent as Christine is.
Oh, she's just a little dummy.
Get out of here. I'm laughing at your reactions and not this disgusting story. They both worked at several homes around Le Mans, but they preferred to work together, which I get because I'd prefer to work with you than by myself or with some rando.
Yeah, we worked at Carlos Pizza together one time.
And Royalty House.
Oh, and Royalty House. We've worked together twice. And we only fought sometimes at work.
It was like little girl fights though, like, I hate you. You stole my shirt today. But anyway, the mom, however, of course, is still being terrible. And she doesn't like the money that's coming in. So she's pushing them to seek better opportunities, which I'm all for people being like, hey, you deserve better. You're worth more. But Clemence is doing this really selfishly. So she still just sucks. This brings us to 1926, where the sisters took live-in positions as maids for the Lancelin family. Apparently, Christine was hired first, and with her great work and great cooking, she eventually convinces them to hire her sister as well. So Christine is the cook and Leah is the chambermaid. Unfortunately, I could not find a lot of information about the Lancelin family. The father, Rene, was a retired solicitor or lawyer, so the family was well off. His wife was Léonie, and they had two daughters. One did not live at the home because I believe she was married. And the other daughter, Geneviève, still lived at the home. She was considered like an adult daughter, and I believe she was 27 or around that age at the time that everything happened. They lived in a beautiful two-story townhome in Le Mans, and sadly, that's all I really know about them as a family. Some would say, and by outward appearance, the family treated the sisters really well. They ate the same food. They lived in a heated room. They apparently had a balcony. They were paid standard wages. And apparently health insurance was newer at this time, and Renee gave it to the girls. So compared to the other maids, they were treated quote unquote better.
I had literally no idea health insurance started that long ago.
I had no idea either. And I saw it in one source and I'm like, are you kidding me? But apparently. Also, the sisters were the envy of the neighbors because they were hard workers and the house was always in order. In a couple of the sources, it said that Léonie even told Leah and Christine's mom to chill out one time because the sisters were sending her money. And Renee's wife, Léonie, the madam of the household, was like, they are earning this money. You need to stop.
Oh, off, sis.
I agree. I think this sparks Christine not talking to her mom after, but honestly, I'm not 100% sure if this happened because it was only in like one source. But Christine and Leah did appear to not be talking to their mom during all of this. So in some aspects, they were treated well, but in other aspects, not so much. For instance, and very oddly, the sisters never talked to Renee in all of the 7 years that they worked there. Like how? Léonie barely talked to them either, and I guess would give them written or typed instructions on what they had to do for that day. Léonie would also perform white glove tests where she would wipe the furniture to make sure that it was perfect. And when it wasn't perfect, she was really rude about it. And some sources said she would even like pinch them or get violent sometimes.
Don't come white glove check my house. I got 3 animals.
You would be pinched.
It ain't gonna be white.
But apparently, the violence that Léonie was portraying didn't start until after she had a bout of what some would say depression. So it seems like her mental health deteriorated since the girl started working there. So it seems again like she wasn't a terrible boss to start out, but then became not so great of a boss. They also were working 14-hour days with only one half day off a week. So they are constantly working. And I guess Christina's also a little jealous of Geneviève, the daughter, because Geneviève talks with Leah sometimes. And I don't know, I guess she feels threatened or a little jealous, but there seems to be some bad blood there as well.
Have you read The Housemaid by Frida McFadden?
Yes.
The like sometimes she's nice and sometimes she's really mean reminds me of that book.
That's a very good connection there. Another odd thing is that I guess all of the maids around town go out after work, they socialize, they do things together. And Christine and Leah stay to themselves and basically just go to church and then they hang out in their room alone together. This brings us to February 2nd, 1933, 7 years after the Papin sisters were hired. Christine is 27 at this time and Leah is 22. To set the scene, it's raining pretty heavily that night. It's dark and it's dreary outside. Léonie and Geneviève were out and about shopping, and they were supposed to meet Renee at Léonie's brother's house. So they were not expected back to the house until late that evening. Now, this differs slightly between sources, but apparently there was an iron issue, like an iron for your clothes. Apparently, there was a faulty iron that they possibly already had an issue with and picked up from the shop where it was getting fixed. I guess the iron blew another fuse, but the sisters figured that since the family wasn't expected until late that evening, they would fix the fuse in the morning, which I'm impressed they can fix a fuse because I can't.
You just gotta flip them. That's what I do.
Oh, is it? No.
Yeah, when you blow a fuse.
That's all you do?
Yeah, you go to the fuse box and you find which one's connected. Like if you blow a fuse in the kitchen, you find the one that says kitchen and you just go boop, boop.
Okay, but what about 1901? Probably a little different, maybe.
Okay, this is 1933.
Good check. What about 1933?
I don't know.
For some reason, though, Léonie and Geneviève come home unexpectedly. Like they were not planning to be there at all. Maybe they were dropping their shopping bags off or drying off. Who really knows? But when Léonie saw the broken iron again and the fuse that was not fixed, apparently she went into a violent rage and started attacking Christine near the stairs in the townhome. Now, this account is from Christine, so I don't know if it's 100% truthful. All right, and then just like buckle up, get ready for this because this is dark, everybody. Christine then apparently smashes a pewter jug on Léonie's head, which led Geneviève, the daughter, to, of course, stick up for her mom and start attacking Christine to get off her mother. Allegedly, Christine shouts, "I am going to massacre them," which causes Leah to be like, what the heck is going on? And come assess the scene. Well, Leah starts attacking the mom since Christine is occupied with Geneviève. Christine starts cheering for Leah and like pumping her up. And Christine legit goes, smash her head and tear her eyes out.
That's not normal.
And then Leah does exactly that.
No.
While Leah is tearing the mother's eyes out of her head, Christine starts doing the same to Geneviève.
What?
I need to express that they are still alive at this point, Léonie and Geneviève.
I'm going to barf.
This is why I hate this case.
Don't touch my eyeballs ever.
Yes. So now without their eyes, they are obviously helpless. And the sisters decide to grab a hammer and a knife and continue using the pewter jug as well. And they both use all of these weapons and they're basically just swapping them with each other. And they're using them against Léonie and Geneviève until their victims are silent and their faces are unrecognizable.
So this is all because the madam of the house got angry about an iron?
Yeah.
This story is not adding up.
This next part is a lot. if you can believe it. So brace yourself. But at some point, the sisters lift the mother and daughter skirts up and they start cutting their thighs and butts. And then a couple of the sources, not all of them, said that they did something else that's so disgusting and awful. I literally refuse to say it out loud. And if you're interested, you can look it up in the sources that I will link. Some sources said this went on for a half hour, and some sources said it went on for 2 hours. But either way too much, way too horrific. And I hate these sisters so much.
Now I'm curious.
I literally will not tell you. Maybe I'll text it to you after this. I will not say it out loud. I gagged. I had to take a break after. It's awful. After this insanely brutal attack, they lock the doors, like deadbolts and all. They go to the kitchen. They clean themselves off. And then they go into their bedroom, lock the door, light a candle, and place the bloody hammer next to the bed and lay in bed where they wait.
Wait for what?
To be found.
So they're just like, let's chill here in bed with a candle and a bloody fucking hammer?
Think of that in your head, that disgusting scene. I do have to say, some sources say that they were in bed in bathrobes, but other sources say that they were naked. There were some rumors that went around that there could have been some incest going on, but psychologists who analyzed them in court later said they found no proof of that. But something else happens later that I'll talk about, but I'll just leave it up to your judgment. What do you think? Léonie and Geneviève fail to show up at the brother's house. So Renee and his friend, possibly the brother, but I'm not 100% sure, they go to the townhome to be like, hey, what's up? We were supposed to meet for dinner. They realize they can't get into the house and they go to the police. And apparently the police gave them some problems at first, but then they're like, okay, we'll go and we'll check this scene out. Because of the deadbolts being locked, the police have to climb over the garden wall and come in through the back by knocking a door down. Now, remember, the house is all dark, so I am assuming they were using flashlights. But the first thing they come to is an eyeball near the stairs. Imagine the horror in that. I would literally quit right there. I would say bye.
I would too. I'd go get the police right away.
No, these are the police.
Oh, these are the police. Then I would quit too.
Thankfully, Renee and his friend, the police said, you need to stay out here. So Renee never sees this terrible scene. Yes. The police are the ones who have to come in through the garden wall. And the very first thing with their flashlights that they come on is the eyeball by the stairs. And I'm quitting if I'm a cop. They then find the brutally attacked bodies. And they immediately think the Papin sisters are victims as well, because like, who would ever think that they were responsible for this?
Yeah.
Police can't find Christine or Leah, though, in the house. They're searching. So they go to the maid's chambers and the door is locked and they can't hear anything. So they legit have to go get a locksmith to come open the door. Still no noise is being made. And they are just in absolute shock to find Christine and Leah sitting on the bed, candle lit, and bloody hammer near the bed. If I didn't quit already, I would be running down those stairs so fast, Alexis.
They're just... I'm picturing them sitting in bed staring at each other with a candle in between them, and I'm horrified.
In a bloody hammer. And they're either in bathrobes or naked.
And they're just sitting there like, you had to get a locksmith.
Literally. These sisters, I have chills. But the sisters apparently immediately confessed to the crimes. And then upon further questioning at the house, they say, I'm deaf and dumb. Basically like, F you, I'm not talking right now.
I'm sorry, I called her a dummy. She's now using it as an excuse.
After closer examination, I believe the mom was face down. So Léonie was face down and Geneviève, the daughter, was face up. A knife is by one of the bodies. Another eyeball is found under Geneviève.
I don't know why every time you say it, it's just as bad.
And then this is disgusting. Léonie's eyeballs were found tucked into a piece of her clothing or like a scarf, like the sisters put them there.
No.
How disgusting.
No.
The police also end up disturbing the scene because, again, it's 1933. So they end up like pulling their skirts down because they can't be photographed like that. So the scene gets a little bit disturbed. The girls are taken to the police station and questioned. And apparently their responses are super similar, like too similar, probably rehearsed.
Yeah, don't say.
And Christine is basically like, I don't regret it. I did what I had to do. It was either me or them.
No, it wasn't, though.
Yeah. And just like my last case, this murder causes a media firestorm and everyone is talking about it. There are apparently 2 famous newspapers of the time and they are posting all of the details so everyone knows about it and people are fascinated by it because, like, how can two young women who are sisters be this brutal? Also, wealthy families are freaking out, wondering if they could be next.
Yeah.
Interestingly, intellectuals at the time were really interested in this case as well because they saw it as a case of class struggle. So there's a lot of debate about if their class struggle and working conditions led to this. The funeral for Léonie and Geneviève was a huge event with thousands of people in attendance. Léonie's hearse is pulled by a black horses and Genevieve's is pulled by white. And just a tragic, and I hate to say almost like beautiful send off, beautiful scene for this tragic end. So an investigation is done and it takes 25 weeks. And it is believed that Christine was the leader in the events that took place. The trial begins September of 1933. And of course, it's also a media circus with a large crowd of people attending. At the trial, the defense argued that the sisters were temporarily insane at the time of their murders.
No. No.
They used family members in their family to prove this. I guess the sisters had a cousin who died in an asylum, a grandfather who was prone to violent attacks, and an uncle who died by suicide. However, the defense hired 3 doctors to give them evaluations, and they all said that the sisters were both sane and fit to stand trial.
Yeah, good.
This is also where they evaluated the incest allegations, but they said that Christine's love for her sister was based on family love and not one of anything else. It's still very debated till this day. But psychological experts did say they believed the sisters suffered from folie douce. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh, yeah, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, though.
So it's shared psychosis. The symptoms of that include hearing voices, a sense of persecution, and a capability for enticing violence in perceived self-defense against imagined threats, as well as inappropriate expressions of sexuality, which to me, I feel like personally, they 100% fit under this category. Also, apparently those afflicted by folie douce often focus on a mother figure, and Léonie was their perceived mother figure, especially if it's true that she stuck up for them with their mother. In another article I read, it said that Christine was also believed to possibly have paranoid schizophrenia, which probably came out after people studied this case and this crime and the behaviors of the 2 girls, is what I'm thinking. The defense, before the trial started, very dramatically is like, this crime wasn't committed by Christine or Leah. It was committed by a third person, both of them. And they ask for
what?
Honestly ridiculous.
That math ain't mathin'.
I'm bad at math, but I don't think I'm that bad, girl. And they ask for a trial extension, but they're like, nah, it's still happening, September 1933. On trial, the sisters defend each other and they take sole responsibility for this crime. Christine also tried doing this at an earlier date, but Leah was like, no, I swear I took part in it. And with the investigation, they were like, yeah, no, you both did it. So they have their court case and the court takes a total of 40 minutes to deliberate, which is wild.
I don't think I've ever heard of that low amount of time at all.
40 minutes. And the court decides the sisters were sane at the time of the murders and they are found guilty of murdering Léonie and Geneviève.
Good, because they obviously did it.
Yeah, that's why I think easy 40 minutes. The people were like in and out, easy day today.
Yeah, they were like, let me eat this snack and then we'll make a decision. Like we all know, right? Let's finish this snack up real fast.
Yeah, these sisters are insane. Let's go. Now, they do get separate sentencings, however, due to the belief that Christine was like the leader of the killings. Leah Papin was considered just an accomplice and given a lighter sentence of 10 years of hard labor.
10 years of hard labor? She doesn't even have to be in jail or anything?
Like, she took someone's eyeballs out of their head, which to me is, again, way too small of a sentence.
And like, it's not like it was like a crime of passion against a lover. She did it against her boss. She's going to do hard labor with a boss who's going to be hard on her.
Even with the consideration she was just following Christine, I agree, way too small of a sentence. Christine's sentence is way more severe, and she is actually sentenced to be put to death by guillotine in the public square. Am I saying that right? Guillotine?
Some people say guillotine and some people say guillotine.
So put to death by either of those things in the public square at Le Mans on September 30th, 1933.
Wait, so they're like, you gotta die, bitch. You gotta do 10 years of pushing around rocks? I'm so confused.
This causes Christine, though, to fall to her knees when she hears this verdict. So either while Christine was waiting for trial or her death sentence, it wasn't clear. She has a nervous breakdown where she legit tries clawing her own eyes out.
What is her obsession with eyeballs?
Maybe she's feeling guilty, maybe eye for an eye.
I kind of wish she did claw her own eyeballs out.
This leads her.
Also, I only am making fun of her because she's a very bad person.
Oh,
I
100%.
wish she would claw those eyebrows off as well.
Did you look up a picture of her?
Yes. And Lord, she's a looker.
If you notice, they look very similar. And a lot of people say that was when they started like working together. Leah started adapting more of Christine's style and things like that.
Yeah. However, Christine, I don't know if this is like closer to the time where she was getting sentenced, looks a little rougher on the edges.
Well, after she tries clawing her eyes out, this leads her to having to be put in a straitjacket. She has a couple of other freakouts as well. And at some point, they allow the sisters to see each other. And allegedly,
that sounds like a bad idea. That sounds like a bad idea.
Christine allegedly tries to take off her sister's shirt during this encounter, which is really bizarre. I don't know what else to say about that.
I think the incest rumors may not be rumors.
Yeah.
I'd never try to take off your shirt ever.
No, and I
not once, not ever, especially if I was in jail
for murdering people. All of this causes Christine's sentence to be commuted to life imprisonment instead of being put to death.
I wonder if she knows this.
Well, apparently she's like, no, I deserve to die.
Oh,
and this,
Lord have mercy.
This leads her being sent to a mental institution. And at the mental institution, she stops eating. And she does die as a result of this in 1937.
You know, worse ways to go, I guess. Like a guillotine.
Leah is freaking released after 8 years because of good behavior.
She's like, I like these rocks so much.
Like, what? So at 31 years old, she's out and about, free as a bird. Apparently, she was exiled, though, so she wasn't allowed to live in Le Mans anymore. But, like, still, she's free.
They're like, go kill somebody in a different town, ma'am.
She ends up going to live with her mother because apparently they started talking again. And by all accounts, she lives a quiet life under an assumed name, working as a hotel maid.
No.
This girl went back to being a maid, and maybe not at someone's house, but a hotel. Who hired her?
They did not do a background check.
How are your other employees? Oh, I killed them. Okay, you're hired.
Like, what? Other employers can't give a reference. They got their eyeballs gouged out.
Why can't we talk to your other employers? I gouged their eyeballs out. Like, what?
It's not funny. We're not laughing at the case. We're
not at all. Not laughing at the crime. We're trying to.
We
don't know why this hotel would hire her. Can you imagine if you're like having a weekend getaway with Dusty and you walk out of the room and you freaking see Leah Papin, who's famous by all accounts, about to clean your room?
I'd be like, looks great. Nothing wrong. No white gloves here. I didn't touch the iron.
I'm crying. Anyway, she's working as a maid. Some sources said she died in 1982, but a documentary.
82?
She lived a life, girl. And listen to this.
That's a long life.
Yeah. A documentary was being made about this, and they said that they actually found her, and she actually died in 2001 from a stroke.
2001? Come on. She was born in 1901, right? Or a little bit after, I think.
1911, I think, off the top of my head. Hold on, I can look that up really quick.
She like lived on this earth with us.
1911. Well, yes. Well, I don't know, because a lot of people say that they don't believe it because they didn't resemble each other. So I don't know if it's completely true. She either died in 1982 or in 2001.
Either way.
Yes. This insane, disgusting, trifling case lives on because it was used as inspiration for dozens of books, movies, plays, songs, shows, comic books, paintings, and even an opera. And there's a huge list. Yeah. There's long lists of, if you want to look them up in the sources, I'll link. But people are still curious. Was this a crime of rebelling, exploitation, class struggle, or mental illness?
I mean, I feel like you got to have something wrong with you to gouge somebody's eyeballs out.
You have to, because I would never even imagine that in my whole entire life. And like if a sister told me that, like if you told me to do that, I would be like, you are insane in the membrane and I'm hitting you with this
That's
pewter drug.
why I'm so surprised that they went so light on the other sister because, like, I don't care if my family members are being attacked. If you say gouge their eyes out and bash their head in, I'm not going to. I might like tackle them. Maybe. I'm not a violent person, so probably
I
not.
know. And that's the Murderous Papin sisters and the sad, tragic end to Geneviève and Léonie.
Well, I was going to make dinner right after this. Maybe I should wait.
My God. But yeah, sorry to bring it down. The tragic, nasty, terrible case. I hope you hated it as much as I did.
I've never heard of this case ever.
I'm happy to be done with it. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys keep listening after that one. Thank you for listening, sitting through it with us. You can give us a follow on any of the podcast apps or Instagram at Bloodshed Baddies. If you like and interact with our content, it helps us out a lot, especially if you comment or give reviews on the podcast. So please, please, please give us some reviews.
Please, please,
And
please.
you can also send us an email with case suggestions or a story or notes. My boyfriend likes to give us notes after the show
Very
of what
helpful.
things Sam pronounces wrong, but also also just little things that might be helpful in the future. So feel free to email us at bloodsheddbaddies@gmail.com.
Like she said, give us a nice review, react with our things, share us on your social medias. Don't forget the intro music is made by our awesome cousin Vinny. Give him a check out. He's on Apple Music, Spotify, all of that. And tell a friend, please, and tune in next week for hopefully a little bit of a better episode.
It's
Yeah.
still rough, but not that rough.
I know we decided to do a true crime podcast. I guess it's all going to be rough, but tune in next
Yeah.
week. We love you guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Love you.